Kayla had worked at the Galactic Medical Station for 5 years. She was a Vorian, a reptilian species known for excellent medical skills. Today was special. Today she would treat her first human patient. The human walked into her exam room. His name was Marcus Chen. He was a cargo ship pilot. Tall, brown hair, friendly smile. He had injured his arm in a mining accident. "Hello, Mr. Chen," Kayla said professionally. "Please sit on the exam table." Marcus sat down. "Thanks, Doc. It's just my arm. Nothing serious." Kayla scanned his injured arm with her medical device. The scan showed a simple bruise. Easy to treat. "Your arm is fine. Just minor damage. But I must do a full body scan. Standard procedure." "Sure, no problem," Marcus said. Kayla activated the full body scanner. The device hummed softly. Blue light washed over Marcus from head to toe. Data appeared on Kayla's screen. Then the alarm sounded. Kayla's eyes went wide. The scanner showed something wrong. Very wrong. Between Marcus's legs, the device detected massive swelling, increased blood flow, rising temperature, tissue expansion. "Mr. Chen," Kayla's voice shook, "I am detecting severe inflammation in your pelvic region." Marcus's face turned bright red. What?" "There is unusual tissue growth, possibly infection or tumor." Kayla's hands moved fast across her control panel. "The affected area has increased in size by 300%. Wait. Marcus tried to speak. "Do you feel pain? Burning? Difficulty with urination?" Kayla asked urgently. "No, I feel fine." "Really?" Kayla didn't listen. She pressed the emergency button. "I am calling my supervisor. This requires immediate attention." Marcus covered his face with his hands. "Oh no, this is so embarrassing." "Embarrassing? Mr. Chen, this is serious. Your scans show critical swelling." Dr. Zix rushed into the room. He was an insectoid species, tall and thin with compound eyes. "What is the emergency?" "Doctor, look at these scans." Kayla pointed at her screen. "Severe genital inflammation in the human male patient." Dr. Zix studied the data. His antennae twitched with confusion. "Most unusual. Mr. Chen, explain your symptoms." "I don't have any symptoms," Marcus said desperately. "I'm completely healthy." "Then why do our scanners show this massive swelling?" Dr. Zix demanded. Marcus took a deep breath. His face was still red. "Okay. I need to explain something about human biology. What you're seeing, it's not a medical problem." Kayla stared at him. "Not a problem? But the readings—" "It's normal," Marcus interrupted. "Completely normal for human males. But explaining why is going to be really, really awkward." The crew gathered in the meeting hall, their faces full of questions. The strange event from the night before still weighed on their minds. Whispers filled the air, everyone wanting to know the truth. Finally, Commander Arik walked in, his steps heavy but his expression calm. He cleared his throat and began to speak. "What you saw yesterday was not an attack. It was an accident." His voice echoed, but the words only made the crew more confused. One of the young pilots raised his hand. "Commander, are you saying the fireball was not enemy weapons?" Arik's face turned red. He hated explaining it, but he had no choice. "It was a test," he said slowly. "A test of a new engine system. The system failed, and the explosion you saw was only the result of my order." The room went silent for a moment, then whispers turned into laughter. The idea that the great commander, the man known for his perfect strategies, had caused such chaos by mistake was almost too much to believe. Another crew member chuckled. "So we were preparing for battle against ourselves." Arik sighed. He had expected this reaction. He raised his hand for silence. "Yes, I made a mistake. But every mistake teaches us something. Now we know the system cannot be trusted." We will not repeat it again. The laughter faded, replaced by respect. Even though it was embarrassing, the commander had spoken with honesty. He chose truth over pride. The crew understood that a leader willing to admit weakness was a leader who could be trusted in the hardest times. The embarrassing explanation, instead of breaking unity, made the bond between them stronger. After the embarrassing explanation, the crew wanted something to focus on, something that gave them hope. That is when Dr. Elira stepped forward. She was quiet most of the time, but her mind was always busy, searching for answers where others only saw problems. She called the crew into the science bay and showed them her work. On the large screen appeared images of alien symbols, strange energy waves, and fragments of unknown technology they had collected from their journey. This, she explained, is not just debris, it is a key. If we can understand it, we may find a way to create new power, maybe even faster travel. The crew leaned closer, fascinated. For weeks, Elira and her small team had been working in secret, testing pieces of the alien metal and recording their results. The project was risky. Sometimes the machines overheated, sometimes the readings made no sense, and sometimes the lab itself shook with sudden sparks of energy. Yet Elira never gave up. Commander Arik listened carefully. "Are you saying this research could change the balance of power?" he asked. Elira nodded. "Yes. If we succeed, we will not only survive, we will be stronger than those who hunt us." The crew felt a new wave of excitement. They volunteered to help her, bringing parts, running tests, and guarding the lab. For the first time in a long while, their days were filled not with fear but with purpose. But in the shadows, not everyone was happy. Hidden eyes watched the progress of the research project. To some, this discovery was a gift. To others, it was a threat worth killing for. The project had begun, and with it, so had the danger. The research project had given the crew new energy, but life on the ship was still hard. The medical bay, called the hospital by the crew, was always busy. Injuries, sickness, and stress kept the doctors working day and night. One quiet evening, the silence of the hospital was broken. A patient screamed and alarms rang out. Nurses rushed to the room, but what they found shocked them. One of the researchers, who had been working with Dr. Elira, lay on the bed shaking violently. Strange burns covered his arms, glowing faintly as if fire still lived inside them. Dr. Elira hurried in, her heart racing. "Move him to isolation," she ordered. The staff followed quickly, but fear spread among them. No one had ever seen wounds like these. Commander Arik arrived minutes later. His eyes scanned the room. "What happened?" he demanded. Elira lowered her voice. It came from the alien metal. He was running a private test, without permission. Something reacted. Something dangerous. The words hit hard. If the alien material could harm their own people, then the research was far more dangerous than they had believed. The crew outside, the hospital whispered about infection, curses, or hidden enemies. Some even demanded the project be stopped. As the patient's life slipped away, the hospital filled with tension. Guards were placed at the door, not only to protect the sick, but also to stop panic from spreading. That night, the ship felt colder, quieter. The hospital incident was not just a tragedy, it was a warning. The new discovery had power, but it came with a cost. And now, every crew member wondered, how many more lives would be lost before the truth was revealed? The days after the hospital incident were heavy with silence. The crew worked, but their eyes carried doubt. The research project still held promise, yet fear of its danger lingered in every corner. Commander Arik knew that his people needed more than orders. They needed understanding. He gathered the crew in the central hall. Dr. Elira stood beside him, pale but steady. On the screen behind them appeared the glowing alien metal, the same material that had taken their friend's life. For a long moment no one spoke, Then Arik began. We have learned something important. Power without control is not strength, it is weakness. We lost a man because we rushed into knowledge without respect. That is the lesson we must carry forward. The crew listened in silence. Some expected anger, others expected denial. But instead Arik's words were calm, almost gentle. We are explorers, not thieves. If we use what we do not understand, it will destroy us. If we study with patience, it may save us. Elira stepped forward, her voice quiet but clear. Mistakes are painful, but they also guide us. Science, like life, is not about rushing. It is about learning. Slowly the crew nodded. Fear began to soften into determination. They would not abandon the project, but they would approach it with caution, discipline, and respect. The hospital incident had cost them dearly, yet it had given them wisdom. As the meeting ended, Arik looked at his people. He saw not just soldiers or survivors, but a crew that had grown stronger through pain. The stars ahead were still full of danger, but they now carried a lesson that would guide them. True strength was not in power alone, but in the wisdom to use it wisely.